I think the more we innovate and develop, I don't know if lazy is the right word, but the more we as human beings step back, I think that's a dangerous place to be.
Welcome back to the Owwll Podcast. I'm joined by my co-host, Ellie Santra, and we have an exciting guest for you today. But before we get into our guests, there's some phenomenal things happening on the Owwll app. Every single week, we have new experts joining. Last week, we had the CEO of Grant Watch, and she hit the bet, Ellie.
She did. I wasn't
that if she took 10 calls within 7 days, that we would offer her an opportunity to use this studio, and she won. The last two guests, 2 out of 3 have won.
Finally, that they're understanding the value.
But most importantly, the amount of impact that is happening from these conversations and these relationships, because she's at the point of her career. She's in her 70s. She just wants to give back. She just launched her book, and it was really cool. She reached out to me. I called her the Queen of Grants. Like, naturally, things come out of my mouth during podcasts. And during the Shrimp Tank podcast or other podcasts, I just naturally said that because she's so knowledgeable. She was raised in New York, and she just impacted so many people, helping them get grants. So I was like, you're the Queen of Grants. And then she put me part of the book. And it's cool. On Amazon, I'm like the first, testimonial, which is really unique. And I left a review as well on Amazon. So it's really, really awesome to see people gravitating to the platform and realizing it's not about money. It's purely about, forming relationships. And a lot of people in their 60s, 70s don't care at all about money. They just want to see the next generation really grow and gain the knowledge that they have. So kick things off. Why don't you talk a little bit about today's guest?
Yeah, I'm excited to have Elizabeth Pipko here. She's done a variety of different things in her career. So she is a model. She's also a political operative. And I love chatting with people like this, just like myself, like you, who have different backgrounds, different interests. So let's just kick it off. Elizabeth, tell us a little bit more about yourself in detail.
Okay, how much time do we have?
I mean, well,
don't
worry about it.
These two girls, you saying that, they don't like hearing that. I go for like 3-4 hours straight. They're like, no, we got to get out of here in an hour.
We do have a clock there. Well, we'll keep an eye on it, but we'll just let things flow. It's all good.
Okay, I've done a lot of things, which is probably the best way to describe it. Just trying to be a part of every industry I can be a part of and reach the top of that industry. I've written books. I've obviously modeled, like you said. I've worked in politics on and off, not involved right now, but I've done that as well at the highest level in a presidential campaign. I run a Holocaust museum, a digital Holocaust museum.
Wow.
I just got my master's last year in NGO leadership. I do a lot of nonprofit work. So just like a mix of a lot of different crazy things, but it's a lot of fun.
And what would you say is your focus right now at the moment? Because I know that's a lot, but like myself, I bounce from this to music to meditation, like all different things, but it's kind of like finding that balance of some days you're focused on one thing, some days another. So what would you say you're working on right this minute?
I definitely don't have one. It's more of like 4 a.m. to 7 a.m. is one thing.
Okay.
7 a.m. to 9 a.m. is a different one.
Cool.
Yeah. Consistency is key, I think. And when I take like 2 days off of anything, I forget how to do it. So every day is a little bit of something.
That's awesome.
And I read your mission. It's change the world. It's super simple.
Yeah.
So kind of share, more details of what that really means to you.
All of us don't realize how lucky we are to be on Earth. I often am guilty of that myself. I'm also very lucky to be in this country. My parents gave up everything to emigrate here to the United States. And I don't believe that I should die without leaving my mark on the planet. That's all.
Is there something that comes to mind that you want to invent and really focus on the next 10 years? Sometimes, like, obviously with me, it's Owwll. I'm like, It's going to happen through conversation and relationships. And that aha moment happened when COVID hit, right? Me being a financial service professional, I left New York. I got down to South Florida 7 years ago, and I said, okay, I'm going to give it everything I got in the financial service business. But then I started podcasting. And then all of a sudden I started listening to all these entrepreneurs, and it really encouraged me to go after my dreams, which is to make bigger impact in this world, leaving my mark, right? And then I'm like, now is the time. Everyone's at home. No one's having conversations anymore. It's all through text. It's all through DMs. I said, what a great time to start a mobile platform where people could just connect easier, eliminate all the friction. No different than what Uber did to all the taxis in New York City, right? So what do you see on the forecast?
A lot of things. I'd say top of the list in terms of the next 10 years is getting started on the fight to end homelessness. It's something I'm really passionate about. I've worked in the nonprofit space and the political space, and I think at some point you have to go to the point where it's realistic to put those two together and actually make a plan and one of the worst things that's happening in our country, like knowing that we're sitting here right now and there are children on the street, doesn't make sense to me. And I think we are focusing on the wrong things when that's going on.
It is mind-boggling, right? And you're like, we have all this technology today, and just like things just don't move along. Right. You know, everything gets so sucked into meetings, and then more meetings about the meetings, and then agreements, then attorneys. Yep. And, you know, I'm literally seeing that over at FAU. I do a lot of work with them, and we're just trying to have a new podcast studio there that we were supposed to get on January 1st with a student audience. And we have all the students listening to our podcast in the classroom and some in the class, in the actual podcast itself, but it was supposed to launch in January. Yeah. And then now more people are getting involved because they see how cool it is. And I'm like, time out. Like, we were supposed to launch this, and they make things so complex sometimes. But when we look at like what's on Amazon, it's like, when you're talking about homelessness, you know, you could literally order things right to your home, you know, that sometimes come that same day. Yeah. And it's just amazing that we can't figure this thing out.
Yeah. And I feel like I thought when COVID hit, I was like, people are going to wake up because they're seeing how tragic the world can be in the blink of an eye. And I think we actually went the other way. We got more divided, more crazy, almost more lazy at some points, and people just forgot how to function.
I was actually, like, during COVID, joined an organization called Changing Lives. It's actually here in Boca, and it's like to help the fight for homelessness. And basically, like, I love the program because it doesn't just say, here's free food, like, buy. It actually, if they want to choose to work, it gives them housing, it gives them job opportunities, and then a chance to, like, actually move up in that career. It's like, hey, you can come join our program today and get money and get a career and housing right here, right now. So I think that, like, actually giving purpose and incentive is not just like giving people free things, is definitely like one solution. But I've just been thinking, we asked this to a lot of our guests, if that's sort of one of your main goals. I've been curious if you've thought about like how AI could be implemented in this whole cause.
Honestly, I am not a fan of technology. Very much not a fan of AI. And I think the more we innovate and develop, I don't know if lazy is the right word, but the more we as human beings step back, I think that's a dangerous place to be. And I wish, instead of wondering how AI could help us, we try to think about how our neighbors can help us and how we can help our neighbors. I think we forgot that a long time ago.
I like that answer.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's interesting because I just saw a TikTok video that's going viral right now that's speaking about this. And it was talking about the millennial generation is the last one that, you know, we had to go over a friend's house and we had to play video games together. Yeah. Right. And now we're seeing video games being played at home, and you're speaking to someone on the other end with a headset and just, you know, jumping up and like high-fiving and like cheering when you're in a room together is so different. And we're seeing all these technologies like Zoom, and it's like everything's like, oh, there's no need to meet. Let's just jump on a Zoom, or let's just jump on a phone call. And it didn't work like that. When I was in New York City, you know, I had to go to a client's house and sit through 2 hours of traffic on the BQE or LIE. And I got there, and they were very thankful. They valued me coming all the way. And then lots of times
showing up on time.
Showing up on time. And even when I didn't show up on time, there were cell phones back then. I would just call and say, look, you know the LIE again. I thought it was going to take an hour and 30 minutes. It says 2.5 hours somehow. And they said, that's okay, Jason. They all understood. And they value that I just give them a ring. And today, it's okay to just not show up. It's okay not to say that you're running late. And it's interesting because technology is there to make it easier. Yet people aren't doing that. And we've done some studies at FAU because we've done Owwll in the classroom setting. And they say right off the bat, they don't want to call someone on Owwll. They say they'd rather Google it or rather go onto YouTube to watch it. It's a big fear to call someone they do not know. So I agree. It starts with just, you know, challenging students at an early age, say, hey, you know, let's put this, you know, in the curriculum, which we're doing at FAU. And it's really interesting to see like them actually call someone that they did not know and open up opportunities. But then that kind of goes right over to dating, right? Because if you're uncomfortable to speak to someone through an app where you don't have their phone number and there's reviews, well, how are you going to go up to, a female
Right.
at a bar that you do not know, right?
Yep.
And then eventually, there's less marriages, there's less reproduction, and it could cause a major. I mean, Elon Musk talks about this all the time, right?
Yeah.
Could be multiple layers to this. Of course, Jordan Peterson talks about it.
I just asked this because my friend was texting me last night and sent me this article that says Elon Musk is like, there will be 0 jobs left. And I was like,
Yeah.
I think that's a little extreme. But she called me, she's like freaking out, like, we need a plan for when AI takes over the world. And I was like, I feel like we're going to be dead by then, but we'll see.
I'm more scared of like the robots killing us.
Yeah. But I want to ask you more about like your personal journey.
Yeah.
I'm curious, you do all these things. I'm assuming went to college. Like what was like modeling the first thing you got into, and then you got into politics? Like how did all of this come about?
So I always say one of the most important things my mom taught me growing up was man makes plans and God laughs. So truly everything that's happened to me didn't like, I think I've worked my butt off anytime an opportunity has presented itself, but they've always kind of come to me in the sense that, I mean, I fight for them, but they're always right there. For modeling, I was kind of discovered on the street.
Nice.
For politics, I sent a letter and got hired when I probably wasn't supposed to. Like,
Okay.
it's, you always have to put, yourself out there and try. But I feel like once you do that, it's always like what you're meant to do is right there. So it's never been one first. It's always been trying to grow as a human being and things just kind of appearing.
Yeah.
But not letting go of the last thing. So kind of wanting to conquer everything that comes my way, but never letting go of the last one. Like just continuing to build,
Yeah, definitely. And have you like ever thought about sort of combining the modeling with more of like the sort of, I guess, political campaigns or just campaigns to help the broader world?
I collaborated with this brand. I shot as the face of the campaign, but then we actually collaborated on a clothing line together. It's 4 dresses in my line. It's with Esteem Couture, and basically we're taking 10% of sales from the 4 collections and sending them to women in Israel who were impacted by the October 7th attacks. So yeah, always putting things together and trying to change the world.
Yeah.
Well, I want to talk a little bit about seeing around the corner, right? Because you talked about opportunities coming your way, but also it takes an individual to execute and see the opportunities around the corner. And I see it as a major issue. We've done some TikTok campaigns. We've done some Instagram campaigns where we've reached out to influencers, and there's literally money sitting there on a platter saying, hey, do you want to work with us? Here's some money. And we get no response. Right. And I'm sitting here like, why are they not seeing around the corner or even taking a meeting or responding back to the message? And I sense that you're really good at that, right? You could tell where there is opportunities out there, and you were very responsive. Of course, when we reached out, I should say when Ellie reached out, she's the voice note queen.
Memo queen, yeah.
She is. But kind of explain what you do, what's the secret, and then also what others should really be doing, right? And walking through doors that are open, closing the ones behind you that don't open up to opportunities, of course.
It's complicated because I'm not on TikTok. I'm not a lot of the things people think of me. Like I'm out there on social media kind of as I have to be, but every minute that I don't have to be, I'm not. And I'm in the real world. And I think a lot of people, especially my age, are not in the real world. They're solely on TikTok. So when they get a message, for example, and it's not a brand that they understand right away, they don't even open their mind to like, oh, this could turn into something. So I feel like it's kind of what we talked about with the technology. People are, lazy is the wrong word. There's a word for it, but it's like maybe
programmed.
They're a little closed-minded. They're a little anxious.
Yeah.
They don't like being outside of their comfort zone. Whereas before social media, everything was outside of your comfort zone. Like you had to leave the house and experience things, and that made you better. And I think too many people are so comfortable sitting at home on their screen, like looking at the same screen every day, and anything that makes them 1% mildly uncomfortable, they can't deal with.
So explain when you say getting out in the real world, right? Because that can mean multiple things. You go to a lot of networking events. You go to a lot of dinner events with friends. Like what do you mean by getting out? Because there's the business world, and then there's the friendship side of things, which leads to both often.
Right. Not good at the networking nor the friends, actually, ironically. But I would say for me, anytime an opportunity presents itself, I think to myself, if social media died tomorrow, like, would this still matter to me? I think too many people do things so they can post about it and don't realize that no one's reporting on it. You're not changing anyone's life. You're not helping your own bank account or anything else. So it's literally irrelevant. Like it looks cool for the 100 people that you believe stalk you, but it doesn't actually change the world or your own life. So if social media died literally tomorrow, they banned all of these apps, would you still be doing A, B, C, and D? I think that's number one for me anytime an opportunity kind of comes my way.
Let's dive deeper. Explain some of the opportunities like that you go after. Like there's so many events in South Florida. You know, every single email I open, there's another event, there's another guest speaker, there's events you have to pay for. So what are some of the things that you go after and take advantage of out down here in South Florida, let's say?
Yeah, again, honestly, not good at the events. I don't like it. I hate most people. I don't have
true New Yorker over here.
It's true. Like people kind of suck.
Okay.
But if I know someone somewhere and I can learn from them, I want to be there. Not because I want to take a picture and prove that I was at this event, because I want to listen to that person speak. And I think that's the difference. People find the events that they want to post from versus the events they still want to be at if their phone was off.
So do you go after more the one-on-ones then, right? You go to an event because you see like a specific individual that you want to build a relationship with?
Yeah, or even just listen to. Like my dad taught me growing up, you can learn from everyone. Even if you disagree with someone on politics and this and anything, you can find something small to learn from every single person you meet. So if there's an opportunity for me to actually grow in any way, I want to take it. If it's just so I can put on a nice dress and take a picture, I can fake that at home.
Me and her are so similar on this. We love going to events, but we
like people. I like just
so that's the difference.
Yeah, I like in person with people. Like the social media thing, like drives me crazy, and I'm trying to get better at it. But you know, I definitely we've both say that we've gotten better connections always just from meeting people and hanging out than posting a picture. Of course, there are some benefits to social media, like, you know, getting you on here, you know, but it's definitely not the number one tool for us, for sure.
And I built so many relationships with people that have tiny social followings, right? Often everyone is basing everything off metrics today, right? Like, oh, you know, why would I touch base with that person? I'm like, the person that has 300 followers there on LinkedIn, right, you know, knows everyone. They have a gazillion people on their cell phone. They just absolutely hate social media. It's not their thing. And as I've interviewed over 300 people between this show and the Shrimp Tank, I've noticed a trend. Most people do not care about their social media.
Or like you always say too, the most successful people you said who have like $1 million businesses, like either barely have one or someone else is running it and there's like 3 pictures on there.
No, when I meet someone and they don't have it, automatically I want to get to know that person.
Yeah,
because that means they're better than me. Like automatically I'm like, I can learn.
They don't need it. That's like they're at the next level. Like, I don't need this. I have enough connections. So
when you peel back the onion, right, of successful entrepreneurs, it's through relationships, right? Every week I hear the same thing all the time, that someone got lucky. Our guest today on the other show is the first African-American Marine that opened up a Scotch brand. And he said, I'm the luckiest man alive. But you know something? He was a character. He was so genuine. He talked so well. And it really, you know, helped his entire brand get off the ground. Was that one relationship. You know, all it takes sometimes is being there for someone, picking up a phone call, meeting someone for a cup of coffee, and not always doing it because of 100 likes.
Right.
And that's what occurred today. And I was like, you're not lucky. You're a genuine human being.
Right. And it's
now it led to an opportunity.
In social media, like to actually make some kind of impression with someone that changes their view of you or makes them want to invest in you or anything like that. That's virtually impossible over Instagram DM, you know, like that doesn't happen. You need to meet in person and show them who you are.
I have a feeling also that you're going to like Owwll just because you don't really have to do that small talk, blah, 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 blah. Like, let me like the stuff you don't really care about because it starts in 10-minute increments. So it's very much people know that even if it's $1, they know that you are paying to speak with them and they want to just get to the point and you can ask them a question and they don't want to waste your time. And, you know, same if you're on the receiving end where it's just like, let's cut to the chase. Hi, nice to meet you. Go. So I feel like for that reason.
That is my preferred way to
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. So I think, Jason, we're getting ready to maybe make a few calls on the app. Actually, I have someone in mind that I want to call for her, but you can go first.
I'm just going to pick on Tanya, right? We could see her backgrounds right here. And she's $3 for 10 minutes. And we're going to bring her into the show. So how cool is this app, right? Cool. Literally, there's people live. There's a lot of apps out there that you schedule meetings with, and you pay a lot of money to speak with those professionals. And that's mostly advice driven, where you specifically want to speak to that niche expert. And here you're just like, no, I just want to call Tanya. No different than going to a networking event and saying, hey, I see Tanya in the back of the room and she looks interesting and I want to have a conversation. And here we go. She's on. Tanya, welcome to the Owwll Podcast. You're here with Elizabeth. So can you tell Elizabeth in 30 seconds or less a little bit about yourself, what you do?
Yes. So I use my passion for supporting and helping others to lead them on their road to prosperity, whether that be health or wealth, helping them live a balanced life, living the life that they want. That's what I do. I kind of meet people where they are and help them figure out a customized plan to be healthy and lead a balanced life.
That's amazing. That's technically like a life coach, right?
Yeah, sort of. Kind of do a little bit of that, but also helping build a healthy and balanced workforce ecosystem so that we have healthy employees and healthy students coming up as employees as well.
Amazing. Could probably not be more important right now,
Yes.
Yes. So I do a lot of stress management and helping people find their passion and just helping also prepare them for the workforce as well. So sometimes I do mock interviews and just help them figure out what they want to do with their lives. So yeah, I just love supporting and helping people. That's what I love to do.
That's incredible.
Well,
Thank
cool.
you.
Tanya, do you know about our guest? Do you have a question for her? I'm not sure if you had the chance to see the posting about her background.
So I know that we were getting to know a little bit about her in the meeting. So could you tell me a little bit about yourself and what the work is that you're doing too?
Yeah, it's a little bit of everything. I'm an author, a model. I run a digital Holocaust museum, a lot of political commentary work, just a bunch of everything. Anything you see in the news, somehow it's involved in my life for whatever reason. But it's a lot of fun.
Excellent. So who would your ideal client be? Who are you looking to connect with on the Owwll app?
I don't know. Do you have Elon Musk yet?
Our launch event a year and a half ago,
Okay.
right? We tried to get him. We did it at the Levan Center of Innovation and we pushed hard. We were joking around with ticket sales. We put on Eventbrite, like, help us raise money to get Elon Musk. And we were hoping it would catch on because he's all about throwing business showers, just like baby showers to help, startup businesses grow, of course. But no, Elon is not on the app yet. But one day he will be.
One of the things that I think you'll find is there are so many resources on the Owwll app. So, it's wonderful to go and you can just type in something that you're looking for, and all of these wonderful experts will pop up. So, I hope that you have a chance to explore on there and connect with lots of people. We have so many wonderful people on the app. So, we're excited to have you involved with Owwll.
Thank you. Excited to be a part of it.
And I will answer it for her. I think one day she will have her own nonprofit, and then she'll be able to speak with folks like Libby and get grant advice as a great example, right? We have a lot of grant experts on the app, and it will start with a conversation probably in the next 10 days. I bet she lives down here, South Florida. And all of a sudden one day you have your own nonprofit, right? And all of a sudden it was those early relationships from today that will then impact you tomorrow.
Absolutely. And one of the things too, I did help build a nonprofit. And so we can talk about kind of creative ways that you can get started without having that nonprofit status, but still be able to go after grant funds and things like that. So there are wonderful ways that you can collaborate and partner with people until you can get your own nonprofit established.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, Tanya, thank you for joining us on the Owwll Podcast today. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks for calling. It was nice to meet you.
You too.
That was pretty cool, right? That was your first Owwll call.
It was.
Right? There's no platform really out there like this where there's people available. You call and chat, pay them a few dollars, and you're connected.
and leave a review at the end.
Or report them.
Yeah, or if
Be
they're
like, this person.
inappropriate. Hopefully, I haven't had to report anyone yet.
Okay.
We manually vet everybody. So any request that we get in, just like you said, pending, we check out their profile, their social media, just website, whatever, make sure that they're hopefully good people. But while he's looking for someone else, I do want to hear more about the digital Holocaust Museum, like when that came about. Was that a more recent thing with all the turmoil going on, or have you been doing that for a while? What inspired you to create that?
I've been in the space of fighting anti-Semitism for a really long time. I actually ran my own big nonprofit. We had a super PAC arm and a 501c3 arm.
Okay.
So I'm very familiar with that space, and it was a lot. And we shut down in 2020, kind of take a break. But I still kind of focused very heavily in terms of fighting anti-Semitism and all of that. And then I believe it was, I don't even know what year we're in right now, but it was
2024,
fall of
FYI.
22 when Kanye West kind of went very much anti-Semitic and shocked everyone. And so I had to kind of enter into the space I never thought I'd have to be in, which was proving the Holocaust did happen.
Oh my gosh.
And
it's crazy that we have to talk about that. It's
literally. So with crypto and decentralization being on everyone's minds, I was like, let's create the first digital Holocaust museum utilizing decentralized technology. So anyone in the world can log on, follow the directions, and actually preserve the materials we have on their servers, and we can have everyone around the world doing that. So God forbid these materials are ever taken down or removed, or someone tries to claim it never happened, it's protected and it's on people's computers around the world.
So I could log in now. It's still up there. Okay. Definitely have some people I want to share that with. So yeah, that's amazing.
Thank you.
Are we on a call?
This is Joe Taluska.
Yes.
You called him?
He just went live.
I told him to go live because I knew he would want to talk to Elizabeth.
The next congressman for the 23rd district in South Florida.
Joe, welcome to the Owwll podcast. You are live and a past guest of the Owwll show. How is everything going today?
Oh, man, it's great. Listen, I'm having a good time. I'm out there meeting people. As you know, I am the leading candidate for the 23rd congressional district here in Palm Beach County and Broward. And, I tell you, it's a good time to be on the political trail because people are thirsty for change. And I'm a change agent, and we're going to win this thing. We're going to turn this thing around.
With that energy, I believe you got a victory. Joe, you got my vote.
Me too.
Thank you, my friend.
Okay, Joe, we have Elizabeth in the studio. Elizabeth, if you don't mind telling Joe a little bit about yourself, and then Joe, I want you to ask Elizabeth a question, okay?
Wait, can I start by asking him?
Yeah, fire away.
Yeah, who are you running against?
Oh, listen, I'm winning on the 23rd district. I do have a primary, but listen, at this point, the most important thing is that we got to rebuild the economy. People can afford to buy homes because interest rates are too high. So the first thing I'm going to do when I get to Congress, I'm going to call a meeting with the Ways and Means Committee, and we're going to ask the Federal Reserve Chairman, we're going to ask the President of the United States to order the Chairman of the Federal Reserve to cut down interest rates so you and I, we can afford to buy a house again.
Sounds like a good plan. Who's the Congress member there now in the 23rd district?
Well, I'm a conservative guy. I'm a Republican congressman. I'm the leading Republican candidate. So the most important thing, Joe Taluska, Congressman Joe Taluska, future Congressman Joe Taluska is the man. And
you are the man.
Listen, Elizabeth, I'm your average Joe. I'm your average Joe.
And immigrant, right?
I'm a pastor and a community leader.
And you talked a lot at your political event that I was at about immigration as well, and how you came to this country as a legal immigrant, right?
35 years ago, I migrated to this country legally, of course, because listen, at the end of the day, we need to know who's in our country. Listen, this is the greatest country in the world. America is still the greatest, the best country on the face of the earth. However, we must take care of home first. Yes, we welcome everybody, but anyone who wants to come to our great country, Elizabeth, they must come legally, like I did 35 years ago.
Agreed. My parents are immigrants, so right there with you.
Absolutely. From where? Your parents immigrated from where?
From the former Soviet Union, Estonia and Russia.
Oh wow. All right. Well, thank goodness.
Yes, exactly. Thank God.
And Joe, when is your
So
event? You
Elizabeth.
have an event next week, right?
Oh yes, thank you. My goodness, Jason, you're the man.
Thank you.
Listen, I got a great event lined up for Tuesday. This Tuesday coming up, the 27th, at the Great Marriott in Boca Raton. It's gonna be a heck of an event. I have a great team. I have the best host committee. It's my biggest. It's a great event. It's a fundraising event for Joe Toluska for Congress. It will be again at the Marriott in Boca Raton from 6 to 8 p.m. this Tuesday. This coming up Tuesday, the 27th, at the beautiful Marriott from 6 to 8 p.m. I tell you, it's gonna be great. We have great, and we have food, great food. We're gonna have food, music, and there's gonna be some great people there.
Amazing. And wait, tell everyone when your primary is.
Oh, the primary will be on August. It's on August the 20th.
Amazing. So everyone listening, register to vote so you can vote in that primary.
That's right. Joe Toluska for Congress. Joe Toluska for Congress.
All right.
And they can speak to you one-on-one on Owwll. All right. How cool is that?
Oh my
Well,
goodness,
Elizabeth,
thank you so much.
tell
folks.
Joe a little bit about you, and I want to reverse it. I want Joe to ask you a question.
Sure. I worked heavily in politics back in 2016, 17, 18, and 19. So it feels like a long, long time ago, but wasn't that far away. So almost too well versed in this world. So I completely understand what you're going through. I think everything you said is amazing. Like I said, daughter of immigrants, so completely agree with you. And I can't wait to see what you do and hopefully win that primary and win that election.
You were involved in the political arena, Elizabeth.
I was, yes.
She has battle scars.
What did you do? Who did you work? What is specifically you did in the political arena?
I worked for Donald Trump's presidential campaign.
Oh wow, great! Which area you did field work, political, fundraising?
No, I
political
was
strategy.
So I was actually in his campaign office in Trump Tower in New York, and I ran all his volunteer centers across the country, all the phone banking operations across the country where the volunteers were calling into, and they were getting data over the political team. So a little bit of that teeny tiny team that somehow made history.
Wow! Now, Elizabeth, you're gonna be shocked to what I'm gonna say. Do you remember Bill Stepien or Paul Manafort? Do you remember those two names, Bill Stepien and Paul Manafort?
Yes, I know them both. Yes.
Bill and I, we both work for the governor of New Jersey. Bill Stepien is my guy.
That's awesome.
That's
Bill
right.
is I agree. We all love Bill Stepien.
And also, by the way, he was a White House political director. That's my guy.
Yes, he was.
And guess what? My name was on the top list, Elizabeth. 2017, my name was on the president top list. I was the White House top guy, top candidate for U.S. ambassador for Haiti.
Oh, that's amazing.
You bet. So what So this time around, are you gonna be involved this time around, Elizabeth?
Can't give away too much, but everyone will find out in about 3 weeks.
Ooh.
Yes.
Ooh.
We will announce it in 3 weeks here on the Owwll podcast. No.
Can.
Cool.
So did you work for the administration after in the last administration?
I did not. No, I stayed in New York with my husband, who worked for the re-election campaign, and I actually ran a PAC.
All right. Where do you live now? Are you in South Florida now?
I'm between New York and South Florida. Yes.
Oh, we should grab. I would love to get together. Maybe for coffee or lunch or breakfast.
Sure. Let's talk after this.
We're going to try to get her to go next Tuesday to your event. She's in town.
Oh, listen, the entire listen, the entire cast, the entire our podcast is welcome to my listen. It's on me. Don't worry about the $500 ticket tab. It's on me. You guys gonna be my special guests.
Ooh, nice.
That's a pretty good offer. Everyone listening out there, $500 tickets for free if you say Owwll at the door. I like this. Well, Joe, thank you very much for joining us on the Owwll podcast, and I'll see you next Tuesday. Okay.
Jason, thank you so much. Thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you, everybody. Remember, joetoluska.com, and that's the best way if people want to learn more. But listen, I'm excited about this race because we're gonna win. We're gonna turn Florida. We're gonna continue to make Florida a more conservative state where people feel free to thrive and prosper.
Awesome.
Thank
Take care, Joe.
you.
Thank you.
Okay, that's pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
Second Owwll call. We'll give him a 5-star review.
Yes, definitely.
Great call. And he was a past guest on the Owwll podcast, and then I was on his podcast. He has one as well.
Very cool.
Okay, I think you know what time it is.
It's bedtime.
Bedtime. This is her favorite part of the show.
Yay.
Yay, she seems so excited.
Uh-oh.
My matcha's running.
I think you need a Celsius, huh?
I know. No, I don't drink. I mean, I
Owwll
love
podcast
Celsius.
is powered by Celsius for times
Yes.
like now when
Woo.
my co-host Ellie needs a boost of energy.
Yeah.
That way you can sound like Joe. You see that energy
I know.
pouring out the
Wow.
phone, and he does not need a Celsius.
No,
He is a natural. He just wakes up with 10 out of 10 energy somehow.
yes.
I'm like that in the morning, and then I crash.
Mhm.
Then I
I
kinda-
know it's that
I
like
find my
4 or
energy.
5 o'clock time.
I find my
Yeah.
energy around like 6 again.
I'm losing it.
Are you a night owl?
I'm nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah,
He's
I
just
hate all hours of the day equally.
okay.
No, I'm kidding. I actually don't like the early morning,
Oh,
Mm.
but I think my brain is still asleep, so I get the best work done in the morning because there's no time to stress. Just have to power
Mm.
through everything.
Yeah.
I wasn't a morning person, but then when you have children, I got 2 and 9 and
I don't
7.
want to know.
They force you up, and then it helps because I have to wake up at 6:30. I got to get out of the house by around 7:20, or they're late for school.
Right.
You can't be late for school. They get tardies and stuff.
Yeah.
And then I'm up then, right? 8:00. I'm speaking to people and
Doing his workout
I get
around
a lot
the
of work.
pool.
I get a lot of work done, and I become a morning person now. But then I crash right around this time of this podcast. Actually, I don't know why we do a podcast right during my crash hour, but that's why we got Celsius, of course. Okay, it's bedtime. You want to explain the rules here?
Yeah, sure. So basically, every week, we give our guests a little challenge. So typically, on your end, we ask that you either make or take a certain number of calls on Owwll, typically within a week period. So a week from today, you have to make or take a certain number of calls. If you do that, then we will give you something. It could be your own episode on the not the Owwll Pocket, but using our podcast studio. It could be some merch. It could be life supply of Celsius. Really,
Hey, slow down. I don't have that many.
maybe not a life supply, but
But it could be introductions to people.
yeah, introductions to
other
people. Basically,
people
like
down here in South
anything
Florida.
that you could really think of that you might want from us. On the flip side, if you don't fulfill your part of the bet, then we get to ask you for
Kidnap
something.
a member of my family.
No, we could ask you for, I don't know what we would want, but something. So
One of our
I
guests
don't know.
got singing lessons from her.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
And
cool.
then-
I could definitely use some of those.
Oh, well, yeah. He's we're going to be doing our first lesson on Monday. So
He was the
and
first
he's
winner.
he's actually, you were talking about Bitcoin, like with your nonprofit, and
Mhm.
he's someone you could connect with on
Yeah.
Owwll. He made it really big in the Bitcoin world, so he got in early. And
One of the few that bought it at like $1 to $3 range and just never
Yeah.
sold, and just saw it absolutely skyrocket, of course, but thousands
Yeah.
of dollars worth of Bitcoin in the early days.
mhm.
Okay, what is the bet going to be? Are you gonna?
I mean,
you're
is
gonna
it
start? We got to start somewhere. We got to start 10 calls by next Wednesday.
I'm thinking. I mean, you seem busy, but you have a lot going on. But everybody could use some networking. How about how many calls do you think? I don't know. 8 calls.
8. Okay, 8's the magic number.
Yeah.
Obviously, it keeps going up. We haven't had a guess.
Yeah, we
push
had
us.
7.
We haven't had a guess yet to be like, I'll do 25, but the bet's
Yeah.
going to be even bigger, right?
know.
But again, it's just a matter of
I feel like maybe should we do 4 calls made and 4 calls received?
both directions. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because most people just take calls. They wait, they go
S-
available, and they wait for others to call them, which is a lot easier than being the individual to actually go out of their way to make a call. No different than a networking event. It's really easy to sit in the back of the room and wait for people to come to you versus like going out of your way.
Right.
Say, I want to meet that individual.
So you
Dating, like you said.
What's up?
We're like dating.
Yes,
Same thing.
it's the
Mhm.
same thing.
Sit there and wait. Yeah.
so
Well,
you will
I'm a guy. I always 99% of the time had to go and get shut down and then get told no 99.
In my case,
times
I
out
did
of 100.
it. I went.
Yes.
really?
Yes.
Oh, good for you.
But also that relates back to business, financial services. Like I had to ask 99 times to get one yes. You know, everyone was starting this app Owwll. You know how many people we've had to ask to come on the app and get told no. But eventually, you know, it blossoms and now we have a community.
So you'll go live to receive those calls, and then you can go to the search bar, literally look at different industries. So you could go right to entertainment or politics, nonprofit. I mean, you name it. Find some people you want to connect with and give them a call. And for those listening out there, sometimes people aren't on when you want to chat with them. So there's a button you can request for them to go live. They'll get a text, know that you want to speak with them, or sometimes even taking it a step further, they might have their notifications turned off. So a lot of times I'll check their social media right on the app, send them a DM on Instagram, LinkedIn. Hey, I found you on Owwll. I would love to pay you for your time. Shows that you value their time. Would love to chat with you on the Owwll app. And usually they're more than willing to go live. So, do you have any idea of what you might want from us? I mentioned a couple options.
I'd like to win the bet first, and then I'll think.
And then you'll think,
Yeah.
okay.
I think she's gonna win the bet.
Yeah, I know.
I
feel like you're a doer.
She said that she's not. She likes real relationships. She doesn't care as much about social media.
Yeah.
Following types, and Owwll is really like old school. It's like you said earlier. Like your generation doesn't get out and do a lot of these things that you're doing. And Owwll is literally super simple. You hit the call button, like you just saw, and most of the calls are $1 or $10. Right. Occasionally, you'll see people like $100, $500. You know, of course, you have extra discretionary funds to network because I want to have $500 for 10 minutes. You know, of course, do it. If Elon Musk one day signs up and he's $10,000, it's just access, of course. Okay, so
I guess we'll just.
What do we want? What do we want?
I don't know. Why are you putting this on me? What do we want? I mean, maybe I'm trying to think of something with Owwll. Like, I'm like, do a modeling shoot.
I like where you're going with this.
I don't know.
She has to do something and then
like to promote us
with the brand.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know exactly.
That's a big ask.
Or I don't know, maybe we could do some sort of charity thing with maybe like a call-in show where we like donate a part of the proceeds to like homelessness or something. I don't know. I'm just
Boca Helping Hands is her favorite charity.
Okay. So maybe we do something to incorporate them.
Shouldn't I try to lose the bet so we give?
Yeah.
True. Okay. Then
we could just do it either way.
We could do it anyway.
Actually, win or lose. I like that.
Yeah. But first, we like to have our people actually use the platform and understand what they're getting into before we agree to anything. But yeah, that sounds good. So I guess just stay tuned, guys.
What is the bet? Hold on, time out. I'm lost.
The bet. Like
one of the.
We don't have to.
She hits 8 calls, and what happens?
So if she doesn't take calls, then she'll do some sort of partnership with our brand, right? Whether it's some sort of modeling thing, whether it's a call-in show like we did with Jonathan and Mark Savant, something like that. Do you I feel like you don't like this idea. If you have a better idea.
It doesn't seem like an actual like bet like
what
we
do you
usually
mean?
do, like a winner and a loser. So that way it puts pressure on both parties.
Yeah, if she doesn't, well, what do you have in mind?
I'm a gambler. So
what do you have in mind then?
I play a lot of Texas Hold'em poker.
I mean, I'm just, her time is valuable. So you think of something then.
I'm really close with a lot of charities in Boca. Okay. So one in particular is Place of Hope. We launched our show and he was our first guest, and then we donated the funds to Place of Hope.
That's amazing.
Right. So I will do something along those lines. Like I'll take the platform revenue for a week.
What we just said, but okay.
It might be kind of what we just said.
Cool. Jason's new idea. Okay. Anyway, sorry.
Never mind. I'm done.
Anyway, so yeah, stay tuned for who wins the bet. We'll let you guys know in a week.
And we'll do something charitable either way.
Yes. And make sure you follow Elizabeth for updates, especially 3 weeks, that announcement.
Yes.
Let everybody know where they can find you.
I believe it's Elizabeth Pipko on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter.
Okay.
Sounds
good.
And following this episode, we are going to Starbucks to go get something to drink to wake up.
Woohoo!
Well, thanks everybody for listening to this episode on the Owwll Podcast. Take care.
Post-production for the Owwll Podcast is done with care by Ocean Tree Creative.